Welcome everybody to the Marketing Mindset and Moolah Show. And today on the show, here's what's going on. We're talking about how and when you are marketing on social video or audio, you've got to approach your content as if you're speaking to a parade. What the heck does that mean, Sabrina?
Well, what I love about what we're sharing is once you understand what we're going to teach you, share with you, dive into, what you're going to discover during this video is actually going to help you keep your viewers' attention that you have maybe from the beginning of your content through the end. And it's going to help the people who join in, right? The parade is like a scroller, right? They're always scrolling by or strolling by. Now they're scrolling by. So what we're talking about is not your TED Talk. It's not you're on a stage giving a performance. It is not someone paid for your program or your class and they show up at 1 and class is over at 2. We're not talking about any of that.
Registered for a webinar where you have a captive audience.
We're talking about social video and social audio where it is moving traffic and that it's a parade coming by, a parade strolling by. And what can you do as you present your content, especially what if it's a formula to keep those people's attention so you get more opt-ins and more calls to action?
Not say formula, my favorite word. Yeah, we're going to be sharing with you, I think, the 4 most important things that you should include in your social video and social audio so that you not only, grab somebody's attention, but you get those looky-loos and you turn them into a captive audience where they want to learn all the things about you and what's up in your world. And at some point, we're going to move them to becoming a subscriber. And then we want them to invest in a program, right? Who doesn't want them to invest in your coaching, in your Tai Chi, in your qigong class, in your yoga classes, whatever it is that you do to make this a better world? That's what we're diving into today. Now, before we dive deep into the show, we want to give you a very helpful link that can be very useful to you. It's satorimethod.com/103. Now, why should they want this, Sabrina?
Well, this is video intro attention grabbers, and it's actually pretty deep. There's a lot of training in there.
A lot of goodness in there.
And the reason we thought it would go really well with how you should market to a parade is because when you have a parade of people coming by, you're not just grabbing their attention once, but you're grabbing their attention on repeat. You're re-grabbing that initial person's attention, right, as they space out with the attention of a goldfish, which we discussed in a previous episode. And you're grabbing the new people as they stop by, as they pop by, like Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel always say, Tom Cruise just popped by. Look who's popping in. Who's popping into your feed? And what are you doing to keep their attention? So definitely grab a copy of that later. Absolutely. Or if you're watching this on our blog right now, it's the yellow button below this video.
We have a plethora of different trainings that we do. We try to do one every single week. And so this notifies you as to when the show is going to start and also lets you know about the replays in case you missed something. So satorimethod.com/showbiz.
So let's dive into what this means to market to a parade. And I'd like to kick it off with giving an example of what if we don't do this on social media, on our videos, and even social audios such as Clubhouse. It can make people feel left out, excluded, not in the know, kind of like feeling dumb. When people feel unclear, that's when they leave. So here's a real world example. Me and my friend Jennifer, we run into each other at the H-E-B grocery store. We're looking at, Jennifer, how are you? Oh, so good to see you. And then like, how's life going? What's up? And we start engaging, right? We're having this engaging conversation. We're friends. We're connecting. And then I say, did you hear about Brian and Sue?
Oh boy.
Yes, I heard. Did
too.
you hear that they're splitting up? Yeah, I mean, it's mutual. They're really, but what about the kids? What about the 3 kids? Weren't they in private school? Are they still going to be able to go? Because he's moving uptown. Oh gosh, I didn't know he's moving uptown.
Okay, and this is a deep story.
Here walks our other really good friend up to us. What do? Just kind of like turn our back to her and just keep talking about Brian and Sue? Or do we say like, hey, Bonnie, come here. We're just talking about Bonnie and Sue and about the 3 kids. Are they going to be able to keep going to private school or are they going to be separated? So right there, She was the parade coming by. Bonnie was the parade. And how I included her in the conversation was just that little bit. We're just talking about blah, 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 and yada, yada. And have you heard? And then come on in, right? So what if I didn't do that when my friend came up? Be like, ooh, I'm walking in on something they don't want me to know about. I'm excluded from this. I wasn't here on time. You had to catch this one from the beginning. Can you guys feel that? I so feel that. I so feel being that third person. Why this is so important to me. And so marketing to a parade is like you're having this engaging conversation with your viewers, with your audience, with your students, and you're teaching them something. And even though you're teaching them, this is not a paid class. They didn't show up at 1 and they're leaving at 2. It's kind of an ongoing class. So it's okay if somebody comes in, and when they come in, you say, hey, this is what we're doing. Come on in. And we're gonna go into ways that you can do that doesn't make it boring or repetition or kind of dumbing it down for that initial person you were talking to.
It's a juicy topic, and we see folks on the social media kind of messing this up. They get into these long conversations. They start teaching, preaching, doing a full-on presentation. And like Sabrina said, people are just scrolling by. They're checking it out. Maybe you sent an email out to your email list and you invited them to your show at a certain time, but it doesn't mean everyone's going to get there on time or at the beginning. It's on social media, man. I mean, I was checking cat videos. And, oh, whoa, hold up, notification. Let me go on over to that Trisbrina Show thing. And so people are coming and they're going. And so just like when you were mentioning the late night shows, you know, Jimmy Fallon, Jimmy Kimmel, etc., they're letting you know what's coming, who I just talked to. They're welcoming you into the conversation repeatedly. And that's what we want to dive into. The first time I heard this saying, you're not marketing to an audience, you're marketing to a parade, was from our good friend, Dr. Joe Vitale. And he was doing some marketing training. And I was like, well, hold up, what does that mean? And so as he was describing, you know, this parade of people moving down the street, and we've talked a little bit about this in one of our other shows, you're on the side of the road going, fresh fish,
fresh fish,
fresh fish. And you're trying to get people to come on over that are scrolling down. And he said, so a lot of people think that there's this group of people sitting in an audience, like think of an auditorium, and you're up in the front of the room and you're on the stage.
Like at a university, giving a lecture.
You've got their captive attention, or at least static attention for the moment. And you think that that's what's going on. The reality is we live in a parade world. Social media is absolutely a parade. And so not only are you continuing to hook attention and pull people in, but you want to then, of course, deliver and share some relevant, valuable content and then re-hook people back in. So that's really what this is about. And it's something that it's taken us a little while to figure out, because you get into something and you want to talk about that for a while and you forget that other folks are just swinging by.
Well, I think for many of us that have a passion or a talent or a skill that we have nurtured, like let's say a fitness class or a dance class, and then teaching for years and decades, this wasn't a thing. This like teaching to a parade. It was class starts at 1 and ends at 1:50, and the next one starts at 2. And if you were more than 3 minutes late, the door is locked. Right? So this is completely different than that. And if you can actually have that skill level high in both ways, because I see some people are really good. Like I think we are really good teachers. And so we had to kind of learn this parade thing because that was new to us. I see some people on social media and they're actually really good at, hey, if you're just popping in, here's what we're talking about. Just getting here. If you miss those first 3, you have to go back and watch the beginning. And if it's a smaller audience, you can actually call out people's names. Like, hey, I see you, Ron. I see you, Ann. And they're good at that. But then when it comes to the paid program, where I actually have to be the mentor and the teacher, they don't have that experience as much. So you really want to be, if you're going to use social media to grow your business, you want to be skilled on both sides.
Absolutely. So there are 4 things that we do and that we want to recommend to you that you can include in all of your social video and social audio to not only attract attention, right? But you want to engage that attention and turn that listener and that viewer and that one into that captive audience. So you're pulling them in, maybe not one at a time, but you're going to break it down into these 4 ways, okay?
Let's do it.
Let's go through it. The first one is to reset. Now, that's a term that we're hearing quite a bit in Clubhouse, which is social audio. It could be in a podcast that's live, Clubhouse, everything's live. So when somebody's coming in, radio, and this has been used in radio for decades as a way to help people understand. I hear it on commercials and on radio shows all the time. Oh, in the last episode or in the last segment, thank you, we were talking to Bonnie, and she called in and she was talking about, oh my God, can you believe what they're doing down on I-35, blah, blah, blah. I know Bonnie's like,
different body.
So they pull you into what was going on, and then they set up what's about to happen. So a reset is letting everybody know, hey, welcome. Glad that you're here. Here's either what we've been talking about or what we're about to talk about next. We're setting up the topic, and we're probably going to drop a little open loop. What's an open loop? Well, an open loop is, something's coming. I don't know exactly what it is. You should see our last episode to go into that particular topic. What's coming? This is exciting. I've got to know. Yeah. So that's kind of the opening of this.
So it might sound something like this. Hey, if you're just getting here, I'm Sabrina Truscott. This is my room. I'm here every Wednesday morning at 10 a.m. talking about the 10 ways to launch and grow your first 6-figure business. I have with me on my team today, Tristan Truscott from Satori Method and Winston from the Doggy Poo Boutique. And we're about to take so-and-so speaker up onto the stage. It's fast. It's not boring. So even the people who are there, it pulls their head back in. So it's that simple. You really see it on radio when they've gone to a commercial break and they come back. They don't just start mid-sentence. They say, hey, Mark and Melinda's here, and we're just discussing that construction on I-35 and Highland Avenue. They said it's going to be going on for another 8 months. How does that impact you? We're going to start taking callers right now. Caller number 1, that fast.
Right. I love that it's fast, and it lets you know that you're in the know. You're in the right place. This is interesting to me. So you also dropped like your name, and you could drop a little bit of cred if needed, like, hi, I'm so-and-so, the creator of yada, 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 that helps people do blah, blah, blah.
Bing, bang, boom.
The body boom, bing, bang. So you set it up real quick in the beginning, and really we could splice, that first part into the second tip, which is when they're listening to the topic, you want to like punch out what's in it for them. Like, why should I listen to this? What am I going to get? Even if you're using an open loop, right? Which is like, oh, I don't know what that outcome's going to be. There's a bit of a mystery in that. But when you learn this one thing, you'll be able to do this, right? Something that's really relevant and really interesting to them. So number 1, you're welcoming people. You're letting them know where you're at, what's going on, who's going to be in the show, stuff like that. Boom, you're dropping your topic and what's in it for them, and get to that stuff quickly like you're saying.
Right. So just imagine you were on, this won't be hard to imagine for some of you right now, you're tuning into us live, and here we are again. What the heck are we talking about today? So by that re-topicking, we remind you, so you know, oh, this isn't a wellness show, this is a business show. Oh, they're talking about open loops. Oh, they're talking about how to get people's attention on video. Oh, they're talking about how to market to a crowd that keeps moving. So sometimes you have to remind people what you're talking about in this particular little bit of time.
Now, this next one, number 3, we'll call the recap. You don't always need it, but let's say that you're halfway through your segment. And if there's something that was relevant in a previous part of your show, right? Let's say it's a show that you're doing, a 30-minute show like this. And there's like tip topic number 2. Tip topics. And now you're on topic or tip number 3, and they kind of needed to know number 2, then you would recap. So tip number 1 was this, and that helps you to do this. And tip number 2 was this, blah, 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 blah. And so here we go, tip number 3.
Yep.
Also, by just briefly touching on those again, I think it helps a lot with the rewatch. The retention, and people who want to go back, they'll say to you, even in the chat, like, ooh, that sounds so good. I'm definitely going to come back and watch this from the beginning later.
Yep.
That's awesome. So you're really sinking it in that there's a lot of value here for them, and you're also catching them up so that they can continue with you from where you are right now if they came in late.
Okay, so we have, to demonstrate, we have resetting the room, we have retopicing the room, and we have recapping
What's going
your
on.
topic, recapping where you are in the sequence. I think that one is a beautiful way to do it because the people who have been there from the beginning like it. The people who are just showing up, they know what they missed so they can go back and watch it. And it does catch people up. So again, no one feels like, oh, I just walked into the middle of a movie. I don't know what's going on. I shouldn't stay.
We have that all the time. Sabrina will be doing something before, the movie, and then she's like, well, so what's going on? I'm like, pause.
He resets the room.
I have to reset the room. I've got to reset the topic, and I've got to do the recap. So this is how you should be thinking on social media. It's a parade. They're coming. They're going. Your job is to hook their attention, which is what we just did, to get them engaged.
We have number 4 coming
and get them
up.
to stay. And so number 4, and I mean, at the end of the day, after engagement, think of social media like this. You got a really good content, right? Stuff that's fun and entertaining and they want to hang out. Number 2, it's about engagement. I mean, really, the algorithm loves it. We all love it. We want to be engaged. Entertain me. And number 3 is about conversion, which is our 4th step. So number 4 is to drop your CTA.
Yeah.
What?
We could just call it resell or retail.
Yeah.
Or retail.
What do you have for them today?
Yeah.
You saw in the beginning of this show, we always give a link or 2. That's a call to action, C.T.A., because we want you to not only be engaged, but we want you to join our email list, and we want you to check out our programs. We want to give you a gift, right? So we have to have a call to action. You have to tell people what action you want them to take, or they don't. So these are the 4 things you want to do every time you reset what's going on in your show, in your class,
and your
content.
Your call to action on a social media platform is often to comment in the chat, to tell me what you think, to like the page, follow the page, share the page, right? And after you have asked for something like that, and maybe they're going to do it, or you've given a link to download the thingy that goes along with your training, that's the perfect time and the necessary time to then sort of recap and get people's head back into what you were teaching. So you see how this all works together with what we talked about in the last episode, which is open loops into being able to give your call to action and then seamlessly go back into what you were doing, knowing that more people are hopefully in the room. So a parade usually is like people just walking by. So that's not exactly what we're like herding the parade. Right? So we're trying to keep the peoples as much as we can, but at least they will be there for one call to action, one connection point. They'll leave one comment, which perhaps can tell the algorithm, hey, they liked their content. Let's show them more of that. Or they download your thing and you grow your email list. Some type of connection happens. So you want to don't wait and only just have one call to action at the end. You can sprinkle it or at least seed it. And then, of course, if you're on Facebook and you're doing video, you can go back after the video and put your link in the description or in the comment area.
So it's a very simple concept once you get it. So just start looking through the new lens. Okay, it's a parade.
Yep.
Okay, I should probably re-engage people, just like Sabrina said, and have fun doing it. And say hi to people in the chat. Let them know that you see them. Don't be ashamed to drop your CTA, your call to action. You're here because you want to help people. You want to be able to stay in touch with people, right? You want them to follow you. You want them to get on your email list because that's how you're going to follow up with them.
Yep.
That's how you're going to help them. And the social media is so you can show what you know and they can get to meet you and fall in love with you and dig your style and like your blue shirt. Right? Like the way that you laugh, like the way that you talk, like the way that you think, right? It should be so much fun. So all these little tips that we're sharing with you, they're just things that we're doing on a regular basis now. Some of them have become almost unconscious, meaning we don't think about them anymore. And so we get together and we say, what could we teach this week that we're taking for granted?
Yeah.
And this is one of those things.
Yep.
It's never, ever, ever a static audience. It's always a moving parade. Cool?
All right. Well, speaking of calls to action, if you want a copy of our video intro attention grabbers, you can get it at this link, satorimethod.com/103. And then you'll receive an email that delivers the download to you. And there's actually a full video training that goes along with this. It's a lot about writing hooks and how you can start things with a question or a statement. And what's really great is just knowing that every time you're resetting the room, how do you rehook and re-engage?
Fantastic.
Yes, if you're watching us right now on YouTube, subscribe to our Satori Method channel so that YouTube lets you know every time we go live or upload a new video. And if you're watching on Satori Method Facebook page, there's two things you can do. Two things. Definitely comment on this video and like it and love it and like the main page. But if you click those three little dots, say see first. And that way, when we go live, Facebook will go, hey, you wanted to see them? You want to see them?
There they go again.
And then if you're watching on our blog, which we hope you are, you go to satorimethod.com and look under the tab called Show. And this is Marketing Mindset and Moolah Show. The download is the big yellow button right underneath this video.
Fantastic. Well, as always, so much fun playing with you.
Yes.
Miss Blue Eyes. All right, gang. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And keep on enjoying your scrolling.